Chip. Hello, and welcome to the channel. Um, I want to start by right off the bat explaining how unbelievably frustrated I am recording this. I'm hoping that maybe just breaking the fourth wall and explaining this will help a little bit. I am so bad at speaking to the camera, or speaking in general, and keeping my thoughts coherent and keeping a I don't even know. See, perfect example right now. It is impossible. If anyone watching has never really tried to sort of monologue to the camera, I encourage you to do so. I feel like a moron. It is extremely difficult. I don't know how to explain it. It's just hard. So, again, this is well over my 100th time, almost certainly trying to record this. I'm probably just going to upload whatever this is. So, for better or for worse, I just need a starting point. I need to learn how to get comfortable doing this. And I think at this point, the best course of action is just to go for it, do it to the best of my ability, and try to grow from there. So, that being said, please bear with me. Um, Fundamentally, I'm making this video because I am bringing back this channel. So, for the few people who are already subscribed and might have seen this video appear in their sub box and are a little confused, let me go ahead and explain. My name is Tyler. This channel previously was called Splurge in Science. It was a channel I ran nearly 10 years ago during the latter half of high school when I would do chemistry experiments and film them, do some science explainer videos, that type of thing. But since starting university, I've only uploaded a handful of times, and typically it didn't have anything to do with chemistry. So, to make a long story short, I'm back. I'm back in a totally different way. I have no intention of continuing the chemistry experiment videos for many reasons. There's already so many people doing such a great job, um, and it's just expensive, a little bit dangerous, and so on. Doesn't really matter. Point being, I'm not going to continue with the chemistry experiments, at least for the time being. Um, but I am going to bring back the channel, and I hope to do a number of different things. I guess to put it simply, I hope this channel is your typical classic traditional YouTube channel. A little bit of everything. I'm sure it will evolve. I want it to evolve quite organically. I want to hear people's feedback. I want to try different types of content. There are so many things that I'm interested in and would love to be doing that I want to just let it go where it goes. And I really only have one type of content that I'm using as a starting point, which requires a little bit of background. So, as I said, I went to university after working with this channel for a while in high school. I did both my undergraduate degree and my master's degree in chemistry, unsurprisingly. And for a long time, I thought I would go into academia. I was one of the probably millions of people who naively thought that being a professor was really, everything one could hope for. And in many ways it is. But to make a long story short, I decided that this path wasn't for me. So at the beginning of this year, after finishing my master's, rather than continue on with the PhD, I said, you know what, let me just give it a try and go into industry at this point. So I tried a number of different things. Most recently, I was working as a consultant for a firm that specializes in the chemicals and materials space. And that job was really great in so many different ways, but ultimately it was not so great in more ways than it was great. So about 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, I left that position. And rather than pursuing something else in industry that might be a bit of a better fit, or perhaps reevaluating whether I wanted to do the PhD, I said, you know what? I'm 27. There are so many things I want to do that just kind of boil down to being an independent content creator and entrepreneur. So that's where I am today. And again, going back to the big picture of this video, that's what I want to do with this channel, at least initially. I want it to be a place for me to show my work and document this entire process. I'm starting essentially from nothing. I shouldn't say nothing, just I have my education. My friends and family have been extremely supportive. I do have a financial safety net, so I have a lot going for me that's going to hopefully help a lot and just affords me the luxury to give this a try in the first place. And for that, I am eternally grateful. But aside from that, I'm not sitting from a place where I've been developing a business or I have developed a business. It's at the end of the day, it's an enormous risk. And I've developed a general game plan moving forward, but that's about it. So here I am, and I figured, you've heard this advice. If you're watching this video, I'm sure you've heard this advice from many other people beyond myself, but um, I think it's a really great idea for sort of my own archiving and documenting purposes, as well as another potential project is to document the entire process of what it's like to be in my position, which many other people find themselves in, which is to start a business from scratch and to take the risk of quitting their job and seeing exactly what happens. And I plan to be as transparent as physically possible. I have no intentions of amplifying the positive things and suppressing the negative things. My goal is to just document everything. So the majority of that will be in the form of the business progress, but I also probably will make some more general vlogs, some traditional YouTuber content. But that's really all I know for this channel at the moment. Um, and I'll talk a lot more in separate videos about the details of my other projects and what I'm doing and how they're going and all of this sort of thing. But just as a brief introduction, there are really two main things that I'm interested in. The first is frankly more of a hobby for now, but in a perfect world, I would love for it to sort of evolve and reach the level of being a justifiable full-time business. And that's the development of a podcast. And this podcast is called the Wiser Tomorrow Podcast. Of course, I will link it in the description. This is something that I technically started about 5 months ago, but really got started more formally, I say, maybe about 2 months ago. And now, since leaving my job, this is going to take much more of my time. The way I've been describing it to people is as sort of an intellectual variety show. And what I mean is, I'm interested in speaking with subject area experts from all sorts of disciplines. So that spans history, philosophy, chemistry, physics, uh, really anything that you would consider intellectual, academic, especially things that I'm not so familiar with, because for me, it's a great opportunity to learn and then have other people learn through that conversation. So that's the Wiser Tomorrow podcast. I also hope to be start introducing some solo episodes where I put together some more carefully crafted narrative kind of stories. Again, I'm still sort of fleshing that out, but one way or the other, I plan to do some guest list episodes. But it's been so much fun, and it's something I've wanted to do for so long. And just like this YouTube video that is very bad, frankly, it's something that I've already noticed myself getting better at, and I have a long way to go. So hopefully this also functions as sort of practice speaking and thinking live and speaking to the camera and so on. So that's that. The second thing that's a little bit more practical is I want to sort of start a business initially as a freelance writer. So this one's a little bit more confusing and is a little less clear in my own mind because, when you say a business as a freelance writer, do I mean a full-scale business where I'm eventually hiring people? Do I want to just develop myself indefinitely as a writer? I'm not exactly sure. For the time being, for the last several months, actually, I've worked as a freelance writer and brand strategist and consultant, let's say, across a number of the freelancing platforms, Upwork, Freelancer rather, Fiverr, and so on. And I did that sort of part-time along with my full-time consulting job, and it was a great way to make some extra money, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm going to start there, focusing on getting work on those platforms, and then in parallel, develop my own, let's say, proper business. And what I mean by that is, a sole proprietorship LLC, start sourcing clients off of these platforms and developing it, seeing where it goes. I mean, I thought about perhaps in the future bringing on a scientific illustrator, getting into medical writing. I mean, there's really kind of limitless potential. I love writing. For the time being, it's a great way to make some money. And I think that there is some availability in terms of the specialty of chemistry and material science. So again, this is literature reviews, copywriting, email copywriting, presentation preparing, all sorts of things. Fundamentally, I want it to be centered around writing and marketing, but that's where I'm at for now. So those are the two projects I'm going to be spending essentially all of my time on. This is the YouTube channel where I'll be sharing everything related to it, and this is the first horrible video introducing it all. So again, apologies for just the bizarre sort of ramble. I tried my best to do this, like I said, well over 100 times before this take, but I think this is about as good as it gets. And I hope with time and regular uploads, this will become a lot more natural and I can much more easily produce something that I'm comfortable with and proud of. But for anybody who's made it this far, genuinely, thank you very much. It's crazy to me that that anybody would be watching my content, especially at this stage. And realistically, I recognize that I am speaking to myself alone in my room and alone online. So hopefully that changes with time. But thank you again. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, and I hope everything to come is going to be exciting. So cheers, and see you soon enough.